All right, so I just got back from Napa. I went to the UCLA Napa Implant Symposium. That was a pretty great meeting, and I was really surprised actually at how like the quality of the speakers and the size of the crowd. So for you guys who are looking for like a really good implant meeting that's pretty small, I think that's a really good one to go to. That's going to be next June. Dr. Pazzi, who was talking at this meeting, he spoke a lot about preserving the tissue, and he really augmented some tissue at his implant sites and kind of like developed the tissue around the implants even like several times after the implant surgery. And so that's something that kind of stuck with me. Another thing that there's a speaker, Marcus Aboud, who he talked about atraumatic drilling. So, well, not atraumatic drilling. He talked about the heat generated around the implant drills while you're drilling. And so I let's kind of keep that in the back of my mind now. So when I approach this first case of the morning is an implant surgery. So I'm going to show you how that went, and I'll show you how I kind of try to modify the case a little bit according to what I heard at the lectures, and how I'm going to continue to modify my cases. She's got a lot of stuff building up. Mine your way. I am, huh?
Yeah, kind of.
I can step over it. Alright, so this first case is a number 19 implant. You can see that it's a little bit deficient on the buccal aspect. There's not that much keratinized tissue around it, so I'm keeping that in mind. So I reflected a little flap here, and I'm going to be placing the implant.
At all. All you can see is like...
If you twisted her head this way.
Here, like Marcus Aboud was talking about, he said that the external drilling really only cools the implant area, the bone area, for about 4 millimeters deep. And any further than that, you're just overheating the bone. So this is probably one of the last times I'm using external irrigation. I'm going to start using internal irrigation, and now I'm really cognizant of the bone overheating. Yeah.
Too much for them, but they're actually like little dogs. You wake up and she's on a sling now. She likes the sling. It's so funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I know. It's funny when you see a little bird on a swing. Little big bird, because she's kind of big.
Go ahead, suction that. Suction. And now the implant's placed, and just because I'm kind of pumped up about soft tissue from this meeting, I'm going to get a little wedge of tissue from the tuberosity and put it inside my flap. The amount that I got ended up being kind of wimpy, but that's okay. I'm going to get better at this. You got to take baby steps when you're trying to get better at things, and soft tissue management is not one of my strong points, so definitely trying to improve. All right, so I think that case went pretty well. You saw, I was talking to you guys about, there was a little bit of lack of keratinized tissue on the buccal, so I took a little wedge of tissue from the maxillary tuberosity. It ended up being kind of like a little wimpy piece, but anyway, trying to augment it, and I let the tissue heal up over it. Instead of putting a cover screw, I might be able to augment it a little bit more afterwards. Another thing that I'm looking at now is I think that I kind of get that if you want to be a successful key opinion leader in with implants, you really got to get hooked up with one of the major companies. I think Straumann is really well positioned with owning Neodent and with their BLX coming up. So that'll be really interesting route to go. So now I'm just kind of like seeing what's the company that I'm going to go with, and I would really like to start implementing more digital stuff. There's a really cool digital technology. There was the X Nav. You guys might have seen in my story. it's basically dynamic guidance, so you're able to see with like a little GPS thing on the computer while you're placing your implant, like what rotation your hand should be in and if you're on track. That's super interesting. While the guy was showing me the demo though, the software crashed, and so it seems like a little bit clunky. I'm not sure if I'm gonna want to go with this one or wait till the next iteration, but definitely dynamic guidance is what I want to use. Just I don't know if I want to commit to it right now. But anyway, I'll probably be doing my next all-on-4 guided with Neodent. The Neodent guy's been trying to work with me, so that'll be a cool case that I got coming up.